grapplers are so focused on getting their black belt, they never once stop to reflect on the black belt that they actually want to become. And it's almost like they are willing to sell their soul in order to achieve that black belt. And they would be broken and beaten and have sore joints and injuries. They're willing to do whatever it takes in order to get that black belt. Now, that is arguably a very strong mindset. It requires discipline, overcoming adversity, and all that great stuff. However, this video is questioning you on, are you confident about the grappler that you will be in 10 years' time? Because 10 years' time isn't actually that long. And I want to take you through, can we reverse engineer that confidence? Can we bring an emotion into reality? And if so, how can we do that? So what I'm going to cover today, gentlemen, is just touch on what actually is confidence. And like I just mentioned there, can we reverse engineer this? And if so, how? So confidence, what is it, right? It's an emotion. Of course it's an emotion, right? And the best way we can improve our confidence is through experience, right? So if we're thinking about confidence and grappling, then the only way we can improve our confidence grappling in 10 years' time is improve our experience. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean be able to do more jiu-jitsu. That could be part of it. However, it could be to improve the quality of that experience as well. So, again, it's definitely worth thinking about the grappler that you want to become. So, now we've touched on that, understand what type of confidence that we want, because confidence takes many forms. Is it, confidence in how we feel in a set of brand new rash guards? Is it confidence in how we are in the gi? Is it confidence in the strength of our joints? Is it confidence in our ability to roll with younger training partners? Is it confidence in our cardiovascular system to hold up? Is it confidence that we can recover in between rounds? Is it confidence that we can learn and process information? There's a hell of a lot of avenues in which this can go. But if you remember, confidence is experience. I'm going to show you a very powerful tool that we use with all of our one-to-one clients on the longevity program. Before day one, before they start, they have done this process. Extremely powerful. So think about this, right? Understand what type of confidence you want, right? My example is, just make my face a little bit smaller. I want my knees to feel strong and more robust on the mats so I can grapple more frequently and more freely without fear and hesitation. Remember, that's my example. Now, I know that speaks for probably most grapplers out there, but don't take my example. Definitely just pause this video and have a think, right? What is the ultimate showing of confidence that you could display in 10 years' time as a grappler? Because this, for me, is as good as it gets. So take the time to think about that and then craft that one step further into a 12-month mission. So you're not just thinking about 10 years, you're thinking about, right, 12 months, bosh. Improve strength, resilience of the knees while improving my body's work capacity so I can do more and feel less of the adverse effects. Specifically, do more jiu-jitsu, right? So now we're starting to take the emotion and put it into some bring the emotion into a practical vision. A practical vision, potentially a logical vision as well. Because, as I say, we're taking an emotion, which is a thought, it's a feeling, and now we're putting it into something that could actually be our path to that version of confidence. So that's from my example, by the way, right? Obviously yours will be different. Your mission could be completely different. It could be lose 30 kilograms. It could be gain 50 kilograms of strength in your knees. You could get really specific with improved strength. I always say to people on calls with me, how much strength do you want to actually achieve? It's I very rarely get an example, a really specific answer. However, the more specific you can be, the better, right? Because then it just brings emotion, which is fantasy land in your head, to reality. Okay, I want my knees to be 50% stronger. Why would you want your knees to be 50%? Because if they're 50% stronger, you're going to feel half the symptoms of half the stiffness and half the soreness that you currently do feel. Would that make you feel confident? Fucking right it would. You know what I mean? Of course. Anyway, this is mine. Do your own, right? I know you're probably thinking at this point now, 6 minutes in, who the hell is this guy? My name is Paul Green and I am the founder of the Longevity Program, which is a one-to-one coaching service where I coach grapplers that want to strengthen their joints and improve their longevity in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sometimes I work with injured grapplers, injury-prone grapplers, and injury-free grapplers. Sometimes they're overweight that want to lose weight. Sometimes they are underweight and they want to gain weight. So there's a mixed bag of working with a lot of different blokes from a lot of different backgrounds, and I install a system into their lives that works with their vision. However, the first thing we do is address this type of thing here. I call this character. It's getting you to envision the man you want to become and then identify with clarity how that person got there. So if you want any more information or you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, the link is in the description to absolutely do that while there is still space. Okay, so now one step further, you've got your 12-month mission and I want you to think about how you've now achieved that mission. You are now that man who has strong and resilient joints. For example, this is my example. Yours will be slightly different to this. You now have achieved this. You now have strong and resilient knees and can currently do more mat time than you ever could before and feel better off the mats. You've now achieved that. That is your next viewpoint within this process, right? Understand that, embrace it, and just understand the feeling of that, right? And now ask yourself, what were the character traits in which I needed to have in order to achieve this, and why? And again, these are mine, right? Courage. I needed courage to even go through this process, right? You got family members that are just like, what are you doing that for? You got your missus that's just like, what are you doing this for? You know, you need discipline because motivation is fluid. You need to believe in your mission and just think, you know what, I deserve this. And that requires discipline because it's not just about doing certain things when things are going well. It's about when things aren't going well, still chugging away at it because you know the process. You appreciate the process and you know that it's actually only a matter of time before you achieve this. Integrity. Integrity is massive. And again, this is mine. Yours might be different. You need to be a man of your word. You need to stick to things that you say that you're going to stick to. And yeah, you know, when you say that you're going to train or when you say that you're going to have a day off, you need to actually stick to that and not change your mind. Because if you change your mind, instead of a straight path getting the results that you want to get, it ends up being 1 step forward, 3 steps back, 5 steps to the right. You need to be optimistic about the future, right? And I haven't spelled it very well there. Optimism. Yeah, I haven't spelled it right. Who cares? You need to look at the future and think positively because it is a process and it's absolutely achievable. You need pride. You need to be able to pride yourself. You need to have, you know, a certain level of self-pride, and you need selfless commitment because realistically, we're not doing this for ourselves. It's not a selfish mission. You know, we're doing this to improve, you know, the quality of person that our family gets. Do you know what I mean? It's not over. Life's not over. So, you know what I mean? Can we do more to actually act like that? You know, do we want to do jiu-jitsu for the rest of our lives? Well, if we do, are we a better person to be around when we do jiu-jitsu? Yes. So if we do more jiu-jitsu for more decades, do we become a better person? A continuously great person to be around? Yes. So then it starts to make sense, but this has to be your answers, and not just say the character traits, say why them character traits are actually relevant as well. Like I've just expanded on them there, a sentence or two. So now you've identified the mission with clarity. You've identified what character traits were required in order to achieve that mission. If you are sat there thinking, I've done it, what character traits did you need? What adversity did you need to overcome to achieve this mission? Because it's not easy. You know, you're going to feel like you don't want to do it sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have holidays. Sometimes certain things are going to get in the way. Injuries, you know, loads of different things, travel, work, living in hotels, having a sedentary job, not having motivation, having low energy. All of these things are adversity. And what did the man you want to become do in order to overcome these adversity, this level of adversity? Because now you're starting to not just predict the mission with clarity, the character traits required to achieve that mission, you're also flipping that on its head and thinking, hold on a minute, the real character development is built and forged in times of adversity. So now you're actually, with foresight, you're actually planning and envisioning adversity, which is ridiculously powerful, because in those moments you've kind of you expect certain things to happen, but you've already planned for this at a previous date. That is an important one. How does this man handle adversity? And the last one is, what did you do every single day to achieve this? And literally write down one full day. It's like, what time did you wake up? What did you have for your breakfast? Did you do anything before you ate breakfast? Did you drink water? Did you drink coffee? What did you eat? What was your first meal? What was your breakfast? What did you do, before lunch? Did you work? All of these things. What did you do? One full day. It's 24 hours. What did you do in a 24-hour period to achieve this result? Make myself smaller. And let's just take a moment to reflect on what has just happened. You have just clearly identified the man you want to become, and now you actually understand him deeply. You understand the reason why he achieved that, i.e. his character traits associated with mission success. You understand the different types of adversity he overcame on a regular basis to achieve mission success. You understand what he does in a 24-hour period to achieve mission success. So my question to you is, why don't you become the man today to make the results become inevitable? See you tomorrow.